Hi students, today we're going to talk about mandalas, and this week we are going to make our own mandalas. Mandalas are really cool circular artwork. A lot of Eastern religions use mandalas, and they're really just fun to draw because they're a great way to kind of just maybe let go of drawing specific subject matter and maybe focus more on meditation and maybe the art therapy side of just making art for fun or self-reflection. So the supplies you'll want are sketchbook paper. You'll definitely want an eraser. I'm going to use a 2B pencil for sketching out my plan. But once you're done with your plan, you will move on to your choice of media, which will either be working with ink, colored pencils, or perhaps a mixture of ink and chalk pastel or colored pencils and chalk pastel. The pastels won't be very good to use by themselves because they aren't very good at keeping small designs. They can get rubbed away really easily. But I'll show you in the next lesson what we can do with the different media, especially black and white and colored. Here's a few examples of mandalas. So I really like drawing mandalas as just kind of a way to doodle or meditate, or just to draw something where you don't really worry about how it turns out, just to draw something just to keep your hand going as you think about things. So this is kind of like a half mandala, but notice there's different levels, different circles of shapes and forms. They kind of move outwards. Mandalas can have organic shapes and geometric shapes, or you can choose to have organic shapes only, geometric shapes only. It's really cool because you can get really creative with how you draw things out. Notice also that you can have lighter areas with just a little bit of detail, such as this part, or you could have lots of darker areas colored in, or you could get really intricate and draw lots of little lines and textures. Whatever you end up deciding to draw, you will want to keep in mind that balance and repetition are important concepts to apply when creating mandalas. With each circular layer that you move out, you'll want to do the same thing on each layer. So here's another half mandala. This one has a lot of different textures and details. So there's lots of little teeny small details, lots of little dots and lines, and even some stippling around here. The more detail you add, the more visually interesting your mandala will look, and you will be graded on your amount of detail. So don't let that stress you out about detail, because I really want you to have a good time drawing these, but just keep in mind that maybe a shape like this or like this probably won't end up getting as much points as rich detail like this. So to start a mandala, you will first draw a circle. And if you want this circle to be the outer edge of your mandala, then you'll want to make it as big as you want it to be. And so you'll just lightly sketch out a circle. You want to maybe fix up the edges to make sure they're round. This might mean that you end up making it a really messy circle. But that's okay. We'll go back in and we'll clean up the lines. So you'll want to start with something like this. You'll probably want to go back in, clean up the lines a little bit. You'll just want to step back and make sure that it's actually round. Maybe fix some lopsided areas. Through this whole time we are going to draw lightly, so remember that. Okay, once you have your circle, you will draw a few circles inside. And these can vary with the size, but you'll always want to keep them kind of centered. So if I draw a circle that's inside, that's this far away from this edge, I want to make sure that the other side has the same distance. So you'll kind of just draw more circles, either outside or inside. Your first one. trying to keep it a circle. I mean, if the distances vary, then that means you're not really drawing a circle. You're probably drawing something a little bit lopsided. And I mean, the point of this is just to have fun and kind of let go of worrying about how it looks. Just try to focus on getting a circle, but if you can't, that's totally fine. So I've got 2 circles now. These are going to be different levels. So the part of the assignment is to have at least 4. So you'll probably want to add a few more after this. I mean, the more levels you have, the more detail you have, like I said before, the better it will look. So now I'm going to draw a circle that's kind of farther away from this one. So at this point, you'll want to try and mark the center. You will draw a line dividing it in half. And then you will draw another line dividing it into quarters. And if you have a ruler, you could use that. If not, you can just eyeball it. It's okay. And you'll divide that into 8ths, almost like we're making a pizza now. So I've got 4 levels, or 4 circles. I've got them divided out. This is going to be my plan, my mandala plan. So at this point, I'm actually not going to use my pencil or my eraser anymore. At this point, we're just going to start doodling. So I can choose to start drawing things in with pen or colored pencils. Before you start though, make sure you watch the rest of this video and read through the next lesson because it all contains important information. So make sure you just read through everything before you start working on stuff. You'll just start adding in shapes and kind of dividing up these spaces. And so, I mean, you can always look up mandalas on the internet for inspiration, but you'll just start putting in organic shapes, geometric shapes, anything you can think of really. You could draw an actual subject matter. You'll just kind of want to make sure each section repeats itself. Each level will probably be different, but each little slice of that level should have repetition and look similar. So I'm going to start in the center and go outward. So really quickly, so I've already got one area kind of drawn out. And the more divisions you make, the better it will look. So you may want to add thicker and thinner lines. So we're working with this one level. We're going to want to just add as much detail as we can. So that means we could add more shapes in there. So I'm just going to throw in a circle now. To kind of break up that empty space within that level a little bit more. And at this point, you just kind of keep going. So you'll want to figure out the shapes for this level, draw them out, then you'll figure out the shapes for this level, and you'll draw them out, figure out the shapes for this level, and you'll draw those out. Make sure to add a variety of shapes, and that's up to you, the kind of shapes you want to add. It also helps to add a variety of value, such as maybe coloring in different areas to make a greater balance of white values and dark values. And then if you're using color, just stick with your color choices. If you wanted this area to just be red, make sure that level is red. If you wanted this area to be yellow and orange, then just make sure that all the shapes in this level are yellow and orange.